We're just waiting for the others to join in. This is part two. We're just uh, waiting for others to join in. Thank you. Oh, everybody, that was fast. That was fast. Uh, so welcome back, everyone. Uh, so, is there anything else anybody want to add before before we can continue? It seemed like it was working. It's like I'm kind of talking
Um,
about it, and we're going on and on. Yes, Tanya.
yeah, I'm sorry, I moved outside with the children, but I wanted to say that I think it was Kid that was talking about how the next verse is after, the charge. I'm gonna say to the elders. The next part is talking about younger people submitting themselves to the elders, um, and to be humble. And then right after that is talking about, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about blah blah blah. Not to belittle it, I'm just saying I don't have to read the whole thing, but I think that it's no coincidence that that comes right after saying submit yourselves and be humble, because I feel like if you are submitted to your elders, if you are submitted to those who shepherd over you, they have watch over you, so they can say, hey, this is about to happen. Not all the time, they're not going to always know everything that's going on, but they can say this may happen, or they can even say, hey, I've been in this situation, this is what you can do, or this is what I did. And I feel like so much of that does not happen, that people are because it goes back to being an example. And I think y'all may know by now, but I'm a firm believer in the scripture that talks about how they overcame by the blood of the lamb and the word of their testimony. And not enough people give their testimony, so that people don't know, oh, I went through that, I went through this,
Good point.
so that younger people, and not necessarily young in age, but just younger in the faith, don't know that they can submit themselves. They don't know that they would be helped if they were humble, if they were submitted, if they were actually being watched over, like, because I feel like part of the generation, and not meaning the age of people, but this generation is such a, I can do it, I got it. But do you? You know what I mean? I feel like it's very important that those who are younger, and even us, like those of us who are, somebody's over all of us, that we do the same, because it enables us to be humble, so that we can be sober and vigilant.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that
That's
because
important.
that's exactly what I was gonna go into next. Go ahead, Tiff.
Yeah, I know. I was just saying that's important because I was thinking that was one of the things I took notes on is when it talks about those the younger and just looking at the definition. I did a lot of definitions, but meaning not necessarily those young in age, but those younger in the faith. Um, not, and I'm not going to repeat because Tanya said it perfect, but just the importance of being submitted to somebody, being humble. And then I was looking up be sober and vigilant, and those words mean yes sober, but also it means like watchful. So it does also point to the importance of watching and prayer as well. Um, so yeah, those were some points I just want to bring out as well.
Yeah, Tanya. I'm
Hello.
glad. Hello, hello. Welcome back.
Yeah, like listen, I will listen. I paid $5 towards. I paid the whole 15, Damien.
Well, I may just stop being lazy. I just may go ahead and just do. That is me. You guys know me. I try to save the last dime I can. So that's what it is now. It's not that I can't pay it. It's just like it's free. Why not? But I like I said we just got finished talking about investing into the body. So I just gotta go. Like I gotta be like, forgive me, Lord, for being
You
cheap.
see my face here? I know your camera ain't on, but mine is.
If
What
I was
you
in,
what
I
you
was
say?
thinking,
No, I was like, I know. I said I've been waiting long enough now. I feel a relief. I get off of the pay this 15.
Yeah, it's because it says free. I'm stuck on it.
I know, Damien, I know. That's why. That's why I waited so long.
So I may just go here after the service. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and just pay the money. Don't shake your head, Tonya. I see you in the corner.
Damien, it's too late. My head is shaking. Like,
um, but going with the humility that we was talking about, this is one part I took some notes on. And Tonya, I think you hit it on the head. I just wanted to go over some of the definitions. Humility means humiliated or humiliation of the mind. So many of us say, "Oh, I'm humble because I do these things," but are we doing it and then going home or in our minds saying, man, I'm getting sick of doing this, or I mean,
that's
I don't
good.
know what they're talking about. You know, they can do better. You know, that's not humility. You know,
That's good.
it's like, no, you're humble when you're not thinking certain stuff in your minds about your leaders.
That's good.
You know, so I just wanted to add that, and then Tony, like you said, it says because they are now humble, they're opening doors for the devil and to be devoured. And it says resist. It said what it said. What verse is that? Verse 5. Get it. Make sure. It said, "Oh yeah, God resists the proud." So if we're not humble in our mind, you ultimately stand that you are proud. And it says God separates Himself from those who are proud, because resistive means to range oneself against or oppose. So there's a separation through humility. But these are also supposed to be saved people. It's like, man, God separates Himself from the saved. I'm not saying that's what He's saying, but His word says that. He resists those who are proud. Is it in that moment that he resisted, or is it forever until they're not proud? I'm not sure. But if we are not humbling our mind towards our leaders, then God resists us. He separates us. And then it's that moment when He separates Himself, then it comes back and says, if you're not humbled, the devil comes and devours you. And it just doesn't mean eat, it means gulp down, to drink fully. So He just drinks us in. From one, we're separated from God because God separated Himself. And us being proud in our mind. That's made me think, and I'm glad Tony mentioned that, is many of us, or the world says, just by serving, that's humilitude. No, you can serve, but in your mind, you can be barking this person down, speaking bad about them, cursing them. You can even be speaking out loud about them. Like I said, people have service, and once they get out the door, they're cursing their brothers and sisters out. But He's talking about be humble to all your brothers and sisters, serve all your brothers and sisters, everyone, one to another. So if we're not humbling our mind against each other, we are proud. God separates Himself. Now we are open to being devoured by the devil. And like I say, it just makes me think. Think of all the animals that swallow their prey whole. Look at a snake swallowing that prey whole. Even alligators do it sometimes, depending how big it is. There's so many animals that just swallow them whole, and these animals are alive most of the time. It's being swallowed whole. And that's what the devil does to us. He just swallows us whole, and he just digests us. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to go in detail, but think about it. You just being slowly dissolved by evil, so that you're no longer yourself. And that comes from being proud. That comes from not being humble. Anybody want to add anything?
Yeah, I have a personal testimony.
Go ahead.
So what you're saying, a couple of years, I want to say it might have been, it's fully probably maybe 2.5 years. I experienced what you just said, and I didn't have that scripture to give me the revelation. I just had to get embarrassed, go through unnecessary suffering, and get chastised by the Lord, in order to come to the revelation that you just gave. So the scripture is like actually delicious to me. But yeah, everything you just said with my fellow brethren, leaders, everything. I was doing all the right stuff, but I had formed these judgments in my mind. And in my mind, it was righteous judgment, but it wasn't. It was pride. It was bitterness. It was just all these things that weren't pleasing to God. And when I finally was raked through the mud, went through a lot of pain, and just really let God do what He had to do in my heart, it was number one, I will never go back to that place. I know people say never, but I can't see myself being back to that place. But it's caused me to pursue God even more fervently, so that I will not end up in that place, because it's been a much more freer, lighter experience. Living has been more freer, has been more lighter, and I've been able to, show up in my own life as a result of catching it. So that was just a very good revelation. I just wanted to give an experiential testimony. Just meaning I came to that conclusion just by going through it. But that word is real good. Like all that time, it was just sitting right there.
I have an example of this too, and you know, I was talking to Pastor Nana one day, and I was talking. I'll be upfront with him, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't agree with everything you guys do, but I go along with it because you guys are over me. So I was like, I serve you guys. I'm here. I'll do it." And he was like, "You know what? You shouldn't be thinking that." And, and I was just like, "Whoa!" That was deep. And then that made me think, about um, Joshua. Joshua just humble, but you never heard anything the scripture said Joshua thought evil, anything that Moses did. And, we can sit back and like, oh, Moses makes some mistakes. We know that because he hit the rock, and because of, he was told to death, so he did something wrong. But we don't hear anything about Joshua saying anything bad about him. He's not being conscious or he's not judging what his leaders is doing. He was just like, okay, I'm ready. He just kind of empty mind. I'm not gonna say empty minded, but he just went along with everything his leader was doing because he was humble to him. And that made me think, it's like, okay, I may not agree with the pastor's doing. You know what? Let me just not even think that. I'm just going to just go with the flow. And he told me, he's like, you shouldn't even be thinking, that type of stuff against your elders. You go with it. You either with them or you're not with them. Even in our mind.
I think it's a thin line because I know sometimes we cannot agree with something and then be told we have an Absalom spirit, and that's not what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. I think we're just I think you and I are talking about having a difference of opinion and exalting that difference of opinion or forming a judgment because of different opinion. You didn't think the pastors were evil. You weren't talking like going around telling everybody they were bad people, but there was difference of opinion, and you had exalted it in a place that it should not have been. Because it didn't give you the full heart that God wanted you to have to be able to serve properly. So exactly. I just wanted to, same thing for me to an extent, because again, it wasn't just the pastor, it was other, extensions to that avenue. So mine's was more malicious, not with the pastor, but with the extension. So when I was bringing that correction, I was talking about you and your situation. I was mad. Like I was just mad being unchristian in some areas.
we definitely have a different opinions. But it's like you said, when the opinions that you have slowly, like I said, it dissolves you. Think about like being swallowed, where you don't resemble yourself who you used to be.
Yes.
Because because your thoughts to that person is changing you. Like that's when it's wrong. But if you're just saying like, I like the color blue, he likes red, that's just it, what I mean? And that's not going to change your message or how you see the world or how you see your body. But when you start to see the body being different because of your opinion, then that's when we got to have that self-check.
When you were talking, it's sort of the same thing, but it's not like I wouldn't teach it publicly because I don't think it's enough of a correlation. But when you mentioned Joshua, I was thinking about the 10 spies that dissented, they had a dissenting opinion from Joshua. They did not agree with Joshua, but they didn't just not agree. They were angry. They I think they tried to stone them. They riled up other people, against Joshua and Caleb and essentially God. Yep. And I think, we don't see that progression with those people, but I think it's still the same outcome when we disagree. You know what I mean? The fruit that can come if we don't check the heart that we're disagreeing from.
Yeah, you have a great that's a great correlation. That's perfect because, like I said, if you read it, you understand. Like it said, they went throughout and started murmuring. They started giving their opinion, and it caused the people to rebel. So you see that progression with that. I think that's perfect. I think. Cool. Yeah, that was great. I wouldn't even thought about that part. And you got to think about it because of that. They were seen as being different. They didn't resemble themselves. They didn't resemble the people who went in and brought the fruit back. We don't see them today as like, oh, they also got fruit. No, we see them as the people who like murmured and caused confusion and trouble, not the people who brought fruit back. You know what I mean? Like, so that shows you their identity change or how.
That's good. Because they did bring the fruit back. Yeah, there definitely was a progression. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, but no one talks about that.
Clearly, we talked about it in a different context, but I didn't make the connection today.
So it's like, what's in you really comes out. You can say that. Like that's what was that was in them.
That's good.
And I think that's all I had. And I just wanted to talk about also where it says in number 6, where it
Hey,
says,
Damien.
yes.
I'm sorry, before you move past the humility part, I just wanted to clear up. I feel like, not clear up as if I'm the expert, but I feel like a lot of times people take humility wrong or too far. And what I mean is, especially when it comes to being humble, like in relation to your leaders or those over you. So the literal definition from like dictionary.com is just having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. And I feel like that's different than
Yes.
cowering or denying who you are. Like, for example, Jesus was humble. Like, he was the definition of humility, but he still knew who he was. He was powerful. He wasn't like slinking around, because I feel like people try to make humility seem like something that it's not. And so people don't do it because of what they think it is. I hope that makes sense.
Or false modesty.
Right. And I talk, right. It's false. Like,
false modesty, or just seeing yourself too low, not seeing
that's what I'm
yourself as
saying. I
God
feel
sees
like
you.
people assume that humility is really seeing yourself too low, and it's not. Like, you can know exactly who you are, and if you're around somebody who is over you, like for example, if I am at church, I may be the person who's leading prayer, or I'm leading praise and worship. When my pastor comes out, I hand her the mic because she's over me. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, I'm not saying like I just instantly stop, but or I'll ask what she wants to do because she's over me. It doesn't matter if I pray amazing or whatever. Like, and that's what I'm saying. I feel like people make it seem like you're supposed to hide your gifts if you're humble or not know who you are, and that's not humility either.
Or
Like,
yeah,
that's
or if
that's
you
that's
speak,
broken.
you being an epsilon or something. Yeah.
Exactly. See it as weakness, and it's not. It's literally just seeing yourself more modestly in light of somebody, and not even in light of somebody else, because not like in a comparative way, but it's like, for example, again, maybe even like, for example, kid, what's if there's something that you're leading, like if you're the leader, I'll do what you say. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter who I am or my title or any of that. Like, if I'm at your house and you say take off your shoes, I'll take off my shoes or whatever. I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah,
Like,
that makes sense.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people act like there's something wrong with that. Well, I don't take off shoes. Well, then you don't have to be here. Like, and I'm just using it as a silly example, but I feel like it is as simple as that. Whether or not you think shoes should be taken off, whether or not you feel like just buy a vacuum, it goes back to the opinions. Who cares if he likes red and I like blue? I'm, I'm not the one in charge of it. I'm not the one who got it. Well, the simple, like, no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah. I know. I'm also, we talk about this often. I'm that leader. If it's not sin, if you tell me to put on a polka dot shirt and
That's
stomp
exactly what
twice
I'm saying.
as the
Yeah,
leader, and I'm submitted to you, I'ma do it.
yeah,
Who cares how I feel about it? Who
yeah.
cares if I think it's stupid? I'm not even going to focus on the fact I think it's stupid. You told me to. Whatever is your ministry. I'm that kind of person, and I think I get amazed when people aren't like that. Like, then don't go here no more.
That's exactly how I feel.
Don't
I
enroll.
literally
Leave
I
the
told you my
class.
kids the same thing. Like,
Don't. Like, I don't understand. Like, if my polka dot shirt and stomping twice offends you, then don't.
Yeah.
Don't be a part. Like,
go ahead, Tiffany.
all I was gonna say is that I think all of those things are so true, and also I think sometimes people confuse humility with like debasing themselves, like, oh my gosh, basically shrinking back. And I think that's also important that you recognize that too, that being humble and respecting other people's position doesn't necessarily mean that you have to like filter who you are necessarily, or kind of hide in the corner in regard to your gifts and your talents. Basically, what was already said. That was all I was going to add.
but I feel like your hide in the corner was a very powerful statement.
I like.
Girl, because I'm good for finding a corner.
Yeah, I think you guys. As Tonya was saying, yeah, you can be humble and still be who you are. And like I think she said, Jesus is the example of humility. But I also see Jesus as the ultimate sign of humility while still being a man's man. Like I see Jesus as being a man's man. You know, like he can go live in the wilderness. Like if that's not a definition of a man's man, somebody who can just get up and like, I'm gonna go stay in the desert for a while and survive. You're a man's man. This guy walked from town to town. You know what I mean? Like he was the definition of a man's man, but in that he still was humble. And he still did the Father's will. Even he had this point was like, I don't want to die, and he was like, you know what? It's what you want to do. This was what you want to happen, so I'm gonna go along with it. Just because you're above me. And he was humble in that. He did it, even though he was still himself. Of being that man's man when he needed to be. So yeah, great point, Tony. I just thought about that. Like I said, when you mentioned Jesus being humbled, I was like, he was humble. Like he died, even though he didn't. And it was a point where he didn't want to, but he still did it.
Exactly. You're taking votes, but since you're not, it don't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
and he also shows like how you shouldn't dwell on it long. He had the feeling, and he was like, you know what, it's your will, and he didn't say anything about it no more. He just went and did it. We dwell on it for days. Let me write it down. Let me think about this. He was just like, nope, here's done. So great point. And then my last thing I wanted to bring up, maybe if anybody else wanted to talk too, you can, was how he says in verse 6, humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that ye may be exalted, so that he may exalt you in due time. And I just looked at the word due time. It means occasion or proper time. We can't be exalted when we want, and it could take years, it can take months, it can be seconds. And we try to put a time limit on God all the time. And it's whenever you feel like doing it, whenever the proper time is to do it, whenever the occasion calls for it, he can do it. And to me, that just spoke volumes to me, that we just can't push God. We can't, it may not come the first day. We just got to wait till that occasion comes, and then we will be exalted.
You want to put a time frame on when we're exalted? You want to put a time frame on how long we got to go through something? Yeah. We want to put a time frame. We would be like, so Jesus, I only got to go through this for like a little bit, right? Like, you don't need for this to be for like a year, just for like a month. And they'd be like, nah, like, I need you to walk through this for as long as I tell you to. And at due time, I will also exalt you. Like, I think that's so powerful as well.
All right. Anybody got anything else to add? Over all this, I know I've been talking and we've been jumping in and out, so it's been perfect. But anybody, like, that's the far as I got. I read everything, but there was kind of the details of it that I really dug into all the way to verse 8. And of course, he starts talking about the church and everything in Sylvanus. And I thought that was interesting too, because Sylvanus also worked with Paul. So I was like, he worked with Paul, and then I don't know if this is, I don't know who died first between Paul and Peter. I don't know that. I should know that. But it's like, did Paul stop? Did Paul die? And then he was like, I got to continue working. And then he went and started helping Peter. So I thought that was interesting. He continued to work. He continued to be faithful and humble. And he's noted for being humble here because he helped Paul and he also helped Peter. I thought that was good.
And before you leave, my thing is I went all the way down to the last verse where it says, greet each other with hugs and kisses. And my thing is, up in churches, you should, if you of God, you greet them with love and kisses and stuff. But some churches you go to, it's like you have some kind of disease on you that they don't want to hug you, or they'll see you and they'll stop a distant, turn around and go back. But if we of God, you supposed to hug all people, even the ones that I seen, would come off the street to sit down. They don't want to greet them either, but you also gotta greet the ones who coming in. If it ain't no more than just hearing the words, something brung, or somebody brung. I'm gonna say something brung him into the house of the Lord to hear that word, and for them to come through the church door and don't be greeted with love. Some can some of them just turn back around, because they figuring, okay, we Christians are supposed to be Christian. We supposed to greet each and everybody, no matter what the circumstance is. Because if you really look at it, we ain't nothing but filthy rags ourselves. So God embraced us. So why we can't embrace each other, whether they in church or out of church, we supposed to greet them with kisses and love. Let them know that we grateful and we thank them for coming into the house of the Lord. That's the first step. So, and greeting them at the door, that'll make them even want to stay more, because they're gonna feel that love. Okay, they full of love up here, and that'll make them want to stay. But if you're not greeting them with love, or showing them that you appreciate them coming in, still are giving them the, oh, I don't want to touch them, or your face can say 1,000 words, to somebody who's coming in off the street to hear the word of God, and you turning your face up at them, or you back up and you just don't want to be bothered with them. That'll make me want to turn around, go back out the door. Okay, this ain't for me up in here. But something bringing them off that street to stop at your door to come in to worship the Lord or to hear that word, and it might be for them. We just don't know. But by you not greeting them with love, that'll make you turn around, because you greeting them at the door. And once you get, that's just like you inviting somebody into your house. If you not, they not feeling your vibe, then they gonna like, whoa, why did I come here?
Right.
So us being Christians, we gotta have that love of Christ in us, no matter what the situation is. If they coming off the street and they ain't dressed holy than thou, you know, you don't want to greet them. But them the ones that is them the ones right there that's dressed holy than thou, but somebody just coming off the street looking like who did it and got away with it. Them the one God probably say, okay, I want you to stop here and hear what I got to say. But because of you at that front door, you seeing them, okay, is he really or she really coming up in here looking like that?
Yep.
But that'll stop folks from coming in.
I want my kiss when I see you.
Go there ain't giving you nothing.
See that, Jamie? See how this stuff?
Yeah. I see it. Everybody saw it.
Yeah, but
uh,
we gotta greet each other with love if we supposed to be Christian, no matter what you look like, smell like, because one time we was there, we wasn't always where we at, and somebody greeted us with love, and we stayed, we came in to serve the Lord, and like I said, we ain't smell like a bed of roses all the time. So you got to have that love for the ones who come into the house of the Lord. And then you have ones in the house of the Lord, they'll see you and turn around and keep it moving in the other direction. So
yeah, it's
that's all I had to say.
yeah, with that, it's
Damien,
yes.
I'm sorry, my stuff is on.
Oh,
Were
no,
you
it's fine.
talking?
Yeah, I was just about to say something about to my mom what she said with regards to the kisses and stuff. Yeah, sometimes like it's really just showing them love, and they may come in different forms, and it may take a while before the person accept the hugs and kisses. So I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Amen.
But we just have to at the same time be aware of where people are hurting, um, and also a cultural barrier too. Um, because here in America, that's something we just don't do because of the cultural barrier. But in their culture, it's common, so it's easy to kiss and hug people. So keep that in mind. We want to be able to hug and kiss because I was just looking up the word kiss, and it comes from a word that comes from a word which means love, filial affection.
To worship the Father. Because the worship means to kiss.
Yep. All that.
And to
So
speak on what you just said, if they coming into the church, like you said, they can be hurting and need that love and can't find it nowhere else. But maybe they can figure they can find it in the house of the Lord, with that hug and kisses. And like some of them just might not want to be hugged, but you just don't know who's hurting and need that right now because they probably can't get it nowhere else but in the house of the Lord.
And that comes back to being humble, because
Yeah.
if they feel like they're closing off, like say you gotta respect somebody. Somebody feel like they don't want to give you a hug, then you show them love by attaining to them through your words, your actions. So eventually you want to break down that barrier so you can give them a hug and kiss. You know. Go kid. I know you wanted to say something.
No, I was when I had called your name, I had heard Mama speak, and then I didn't know when you were talking. I thought you was asking us to share, and then that's why I asked you. You were still talking. It wasn't that I wanted to speak in that
Oh,
moment. I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing the
no, no.
opportunity.
Got you. Got you. Well, we
Have
have
you done all your points?
all of my points. Oh yeah, I did. I did all my points. Yes, yes. Like I said, then
Okay.
my last thing was the Sylvanus guy, and then Mom jumped in about the very last verse of talking about the hugs and kisses. Um, so we got 10 minutes left. Anything else? Anybody want to
Yeah,
ask questions?
I wanted to do the reason why I had asked
Okay, go for it.
for it, which was real cool because it led into it. So real quick, my notes. Uh, so I'm just going to okay, verse 10. No. Yeah, verse 10. So right after you were sharing like the verses right after what you talked about,
Yeah.
I think I think Peter is who's talking? Is it Peter?
Yes. It's
Okay.
This is Peter's letter. Yeah, but
Okay.
I think it was written by Sylvanus guy.
Okay. So this person is this author is speaking about suffering and not counting the suffering, strange and all of that. But I had started at verse 10 and it says, and the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ after you have suffered a little while, with himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. So the word grace, it speaks of God's kindness being extended towards us. So even though we may endure sufferings, or we have to go through trials, God still extends his kindness towards us. And after we have suffered for this duration of time, it says he will restore us, make us strong and steadfast. I think that word restore is perfect. And when I looked at the definition of perfect, let me make sure. I think it means to bring us back to our original state, or like our best functioning state. And I'm just gonna go there to make sure because I'm going by memory. Yep, it says it is prepare, perfect for its full destination or use, bring it to its proper condition, whether for the first time or after a lapse. And then it reads to be in good working order or adjusted exactly down to fully functioning. To fully function. And when I looked at it, I thought we can all identify with suffering, but when we allow God to extend his kindness towards us after we go through the suffering and we allow the fruit of righteousness to be produced, we are restored to our working order, our original best version of ourselves. We are able to fully function the way God desired for us to function. And I thought that was dope. I thought that was real cool. Like, if I endure this for this duration of time, when I come up out of this thing, I'm not going to just be, good as new. I'm going to be in pristine condition. I'm going to be restored according to God's perfect plan. I'm going to be better able to operate in whatever God is calling me to operate or function or whatever area of my life God is calling me to function in, because I have, I've endured this suffering, or I've been obedient, as I go through the suffering. I thought that was really good. And then the next, definition was confirmed, which I thought was just as good. It means firmly direct myself towards. It means strengthen, or it means establish, or it means support. And that means that we're now, we are strengthened, we're established, and we're now supported. And I thought of a framework. I thought of a solid framework. I thought of the foundation of Jesus. And I thought that was cool. Like, we're able to stand firmly. We're able to make a stand for the things of God. And it is, and another definition means give support to secure. So, and it means firmly established. So the support that we have in Jesus, it secures us, or we are secured in our purpose, or whatever it is God want us to be secure in. And then the last word was establish. And again, that talks about the foundation being laid. So God is able to lay whatever foundation he needs to lay in us, so that we can walk out this Christian walk. I thought that those three words, the definition for those three words, gave us a positive perspective of enduring suffering, or it gave us a positive outlook for the other side of suffering. And we know that the Bible says the end of a thing is better than its beginning. I just thought that might encourage someone, because it certainly encouraged me.
Yeah, no, that's definitely encouraging. So I'm glad you went over that. You know, like it's His grace that allows us to go through. You know, it comes down to His grace allows us to endure. But I like how you broke down the whole being perfect to functioning ability. You know, like to be able to function, to be able to do what you're supposed to do. Great points. Anyone else? We got 3 minutes.
Just to say his grace is sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Will, you got any questions, statements? Auntie, you got anything?
This kindness is enough. That's powerful right there.
You say you got something, did there?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, once again, like always, we got a couple minutes. Anybody got a favorite passage you like? Because I really like doing this. I really like breaking it down and getting everybody's opinion, because it helps me a lot. Hear what everybody else has to say. You know, regarding the scriptures. Any favorite passages? Any chapter?
The 22nd Psalm.
What's that?
The 22nd, the 23rd.
23rd. You say you want to read that? You want that to be?
No, I said you said anybody have. Oh, you talking about a passage in this book, or
no,
in this chapter?
No, the next thing that we guys can read, and we can come back together for Bible study.
I like the 23rd Psalm.
All right. Anybody else? 23rd Psalm.
I vote the 23rd Psalm.
There's a lot in there. I was just looking at that the other day.
Okay, the 23rd Psalm it is. I'll send the text out. Right after this, and then I'll, of course, as a reminder before we come together next week, I'll send it out again. 23rd Psalm. All right, guys. Thank you. You know, hope you got something out of it. Like I said, I enjoy these. The way we're doing Bible study now, to me, it means a lot. So thank you guys for, you know, jumping in. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pay that money.
Yeah, you always been tight. They check some of your wardrobe. You'll have some from college.
Come on. I'm about to cut
Thank
you
God
off.
for your wife.
This is my Bible study. You can't do this to me on my Bible study. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm surprised your brother ain't say something, because he always on you.
Yeah, y'all talk about me even when I'm building your front door. Y'all still be riding me. But,
yeah, because I don't know how you do it from college.
This is Bible study. This is Bible study.
Oh, okay, this stuff. Okay, we'll do it at Sunday then.
All right. So that's it. Once again, guys, thank you. And 23rd Psalms for next Friday.
Okay.
All right, guys. Love y'all. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Love you. Good night.
Love you too.
Right, good night.
Enjoy.
Love y'all. Good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Night, John boy.